thought I would not have a weird ass opening. This is my channel and I get to have weird openings. It's what I'm known for, okay? It's what I do. Every time I have the weirdest opening. You thought I was going to keep it normal? No. I'm gonna keep it weird. Because that's what I am. I'm weird. Oh, if you already haven't tuned out and left this weird ass channel, I want to talk to you about something, alright? I want to talk to you about something. And that thing is popular fantasy books and specific niche things that I absolutely hate about a lot of popular fantasy books. First one is actually going to be coming from the Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you yourself hate this, but I honestly want you to hate it. I want you to hate it so bad. You know why? It's about the orcs in the story. Because the orcs, long time ago, they were created by this Dark Lord as his servants, as his, minions. And that Dark Lord, basically they just don't have a very strong will. And these are like henchmen. What if the orcs develop stronger willpower and one orc all of a sudden decides he's not going to be working for the Dark Lord? Wouldn't that be awesome? I really hope that you think this would be awesome because it's such a potential that is wasted. And heck, even if you were to write this story, it would be such an awesome theme. Why? Because purpose. You were born, for instance, into a country and that country believes certain things and your mother wants you to become this. Your father wants you to become this. And this is about a purpose. And if you were to write this story, you would realize this is such an awesome theme because there is an orc and his destiny, his life has been determined for him. Now he chooses to do otherwise. And there are other orcs and their internal resistance. I don't know. Every time I read the books, I just want the orcs to do something new. I want the orcs to really have something awesome for them instead of just being henchmen and having nothing to do. And I hope that you agree with me on this one because I believe this wholeheartedly. I think, it's just an awesome story, an awesome potential that was wasted. And that is a very specific thing I hate about the Lord of the Rings. Let me talk to you about Name of the Wind, which is the next book, and I have very, very specific thing to hate about this one. One of the major criticisms this particular story receives, Name of the Wind, the first book and the second book, The Wise Man's Fear, is the fact that we spend so much time doing nothing and not progressing the story. This criticism is so common, it's literally generic. Name of the Wind fans have developed a particular talking points to counter this, which is they always say it's going to make sense as a trilogy. It's not going to make sense as one book or two books. But I have a word for you, my buddy. Pay attention to authors like George R. R. Martin or, N.G. Jemisin, right? All of these authors write large books and large book series, okay? And they're all fantasy authors, much like Patrick Rothfuss. But every time they write a story, their books do not receive that criticism. Why? Basically, a lot of the story is just wish fulfillment. We know that Kavoth is an unreliable narrator. It's a fact. Literally, Patrick Rothfuss speaks to the audience bluntly at one point, and it is literally just stated as obviously as is possible that Kavoth is an unreliable narrator, and you have to spice it up, you have to add some lies in order to tell a good story. What this means is that the entire time we are reading Kavoth's fantasies, it doesn't necessarily have to be fantasies. Quite a lot of it is most likely true. He's a very intelligent, talented individual, but a lot of it also might just be fabricated by Kavoth. We are 100% certain that his parents, they die, but a lot of other stuff in the story is just useless and pointless. You know what we can do instead? What we can do is take the first 25%, the first 5-6 chapters of the story, and use that to literally tell everything that is supposed to be told in 3 books. In other words, use the first few chapters in the story to actually tell the entire background. I talked about this before in this channel, and it is simple. You know what this will do? It will give Patrick Rothfuss the ability to characterize and dramatize Kavoth's character arc. Why? Because the guy suffers from apathy. If he has apathy, how do you characterize that? Well, you put those he loves in danger, right? Because he's not going to be taking action to protect them. Therefore, he has to protect the people that he loves, right? The entire theme is that, maybe Kavoth telling his story will jog him back into his, heroic days. But that's just not a fun way to explore this. You can put, Bast and other people that he loves and that are close to him, not necessarily loves, but people that are close to him in danger, and you can have him do something or not do something, and the consequences both ways will be far more interesting than us following Kavoth in his past, where most of the time he's just spicing shit up. Because let me tell you, someone who has sex for the first time is not going to do it better than not necessarily, better than people who have done it for much longer. And that is what happens in the second book. But you see, that's just Kavoth spicing shit up. That's just Kavoth, like amping himself up. What we can have is a much better story now, much better story in the present. And this is missed opportunity. Let me talk to you about the final book in this video, The Way of Kings, the Stormlight Archive. Dude, that was a jarring transition. Were you jarred by that? Like, now we're talking about The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Like, we're not talking about The Name of the Wind anymore. I said what I wanted. Like, yeah. Kaladin in the Stormlight Archive has one belief that is very specific to him, and it's that he will do whatever it takes to protect others, no matter what. I have read a lot of Brandon Sanderson books, as is obvious by now. However, every time Brandon Sanderson keeps having flat protagonists. In other words, protagonists that do not really change. Vin, Raoden, the Stormlight Archive, Kaladin, there are just so many protagonists that do not change, in terms of like their beliefs and moral wise. For instance, Raoden changes, Vin changes. All of these characters, they change externally. They do not change internally. What I wanted for the Stormlight Archive and The Way of Kings is for Brandon Sanderson to, for the first time in his life, actually write a story where the guy writes a character that changes internally. And with Kaladin, he had a chance to change that. Because let's be honest, the protagonist of the Stormlight Archive is Kaladin. It's not like you have secondary protagonists in Dalinar as well as Shallan, but you don't really have a protagonist in them in the sense that you have in Kaladin. Because the feeling here I get is that Kaladin is the big protagonist. And so I would have preferred it, and I hope that you can agree with me on this one, if Kaladin actually changes internally this time instead of changing externally. And it would have meant so much for me with Brandon Sanderson. He believes I will protect everyone even if I don't like them. What if he fails so badly? What if in the first book he fails to protect the Breach members and all of the Breach members die by the end of the first book? What ends up happening, maybe Kaladin for the first time in his life changes. Maybe he goes negative. Maybe for the first time we actually get to have a character from Brandon Sanderson that is not necessarily clear-cut. That was good, but now has become someone different, someone negative, an anti-hero. Okay? So I really would have loved it if Brandon Sanderson did that for the Stormlight Archive, especially for Kaladin. Having negative Kaladin is awesome. I would have really loved that. Hey, if you're enjoying the discussion we're having here together, hit the subscribe button, like this video. I make content like this all the time. I talk about books, reading, writing, everything about literally books. So, you might as well just click the subscribe button. God bless you, and I hope that you can come for the next video in 2 days' time. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.